Big Ramy is the greatest Egyptian bodybuilder who began his professional career by winning the 2012 amateur Mr Olympia held in Kuwait, where he became the overall champion as a super heavyweight in men's bodybuilding. The following year, in 2013, he made his pro debut at the New York Pro, defeating Victor Martinez and qualifying for Mr Olympia. At that time, he was training at Oxygen Gym in Kuwait. Big Ramy had only been lifting weights for 3 years before this competition, which was shocking considering his physique at the New York Pro. At just 29 years old, he was considered the next big thing in bodybuilding. Following his impressive pro debut, he competed in the 2013 Mr Olympia, where the lineup was stacked. Big Ramy placed 8th in his Mr Olympia debut, while Phil Heath won his 3rd Mr Olympia title. Kai Green finished as the runner-up for the second time. Dennis Wolf placed 3rd, Sean Roden was 4th, Dexter Jackson secured 5th, Jay Cutler finished 6th, and Rolly Winkler placed 7th, all ahead of Big Ramy. In 2014, he once again won the New York Pro, defeating Juan Morel, who placed 2nd. Later that year, he competed in the 2014 Mr Olympia, where he placed 7th, with Phil Heath becoming a 4-time champion by once again defeating Kai Green. Standing at 5 feet 9 inches and weighing around 295 pounds on stage, Big Ramy was a freak of nature with a decent structure backing up his physique. However, his legs were so massive that they did not match his upper body, including his calves. This was the biggest disadvantage in his physique, since bodybuilding is judged based on proportion, symmetry, and muscularity. He needed to fix this to become the best bodybuilder. In 2015, he started the year by competing in the Arnold Classic Brazil, where he earned his Olympia qualification. At that year's Olympia, he placed 5th, where Phil Heath won his 5th Mr Olympia title. Dexter Jackson placed 2nd, Sean Roden was 3rd, and Dennis Wolf took 4th. Although Ramy moved up in placing, his conditioning was off, just like most of the top competitors. Big Ramy was very inconsistent in bringing his peak conditioning to the stage, and he was not looking better than he initially did, which was not helping his future prospects. A few days after Olympia, he also competed in the 2015 Arnold Classic Europe, held in Spain, where he placed 4th behind Dexter Jackson, who won the competition, Sean Roden in 2nd, and Dennis Wolf in 3rd. Following that, he also competed in the Prague Pro the same year, placing 2nd behind Dexter Jackson. However, this time he managed to defeat Sean Roden and Dennis Wolf, who had beaten him in every previous shows. In 2016, he first competed in Mr Olympia, where he placed 4th. Phil Heath won his 6th Mr Olympia title, while Sean Roden and Dexter Jackson placed 2nd and 3rd, respectively, finishing ahead of Ramy. Slowly moving up in Olympia placings, this time, Ramy brought better conditioning by losing some size and overall appeared in better shape than before. Following the 2016 Olympia, he competed in the Arnold Classic Europe, where Dexter Jackson defeated him, placing Ramy in 2nd. However, he bounced back by winning the 2016 Kuwait Pro, defeating Dexter Jackson and Sean Roden. To finish off the year, he competed in the Prague Pro, where he placed 2nd behind William Bonac. By this time, Ramy was considered one of the top contenders for the 2017 Mr Olympia, where he ended up placing 2nd behind Phil Heath, who won his 7th Mr Olympia title. This was Ramy's best balance between size and conditioning. His physique was more symmetrical, and the balance between his upper and lower body had improved significantly. The competition between Phil and Ramy was close. At the time, Phil's midsection was out of control, which was a disadvantage for him. However, Phil Heath was ahead of Ramy in all other aspects. 1 week after Olympia, Ramy competed in the Arnold Classic Europe, winning the competition by defeating William Bonac and Sean Roden, who placed 2nd and 3rd respectively. After this victory, many fans believed Ramy would become the new Mr Olympia champion in 2018, potentially defeating Phil Heath, who was far from his prime. However, at the 2018 Mr Olympia, Ramy showed up in his worst conditioning and placed 6th. He was at his heaviest, weighing 310 pounds 1 day before the Olympia. This was not the best look for Ramy, and especially in prejudging, he wasn't even close to the other top competitors, though he looked much better during the finals the next day. It was too late for him to challenge for the title. That year, Sean Roden defeated Phil Heath to become the new Mr Olympia champion. In 2019, Big Ramy was set to compete in the Tampa Pro before Olympia, but due to shoulder injury, he was unable to compete. This also caused him to skip the 2019 Mr Olympia, where defending champion Sean Roden was banned from competing due to legal charges, and Brandon Curry became the new champion after taking the entire year off Big Ramy returned to the stage at the 2020 Arnold Classic, where he placed third behind William Bonac, who became the champion, and Dexter Jackson, who placed second. Ramy looked better at this show, but was slightly behind in conditioning compared to William and Dexter. Ramy had not yet qualified for the 2020 Mr. Olympia. As he was preparing to compete in the Europa Pro for qualification, he received a special invite to the Olympia that year. At that point, he was 5 weeks out from the Olympia, so he decided to drop out of the Europa Pro and shift his focus entirely to Olympia. At the 2020 Mr. Olympia, Big Ramy showed up in his best shape, winning the title and becoming the new champion. He outmuscled all other competitors with rock-hard conditioning and an impressive shape. Defending champion Brandon Curry placed second, where Phil Heath returned to the stage, targeting to win his 8th Mr. Olympia title, but placed third. Hardy Chupin took fourth, and William Bonac, the runner-up in the previous Mr. Olympia, ended up in fifth. In 2021, Big Ramy defended his title, becoming a two-time champion. Brandon Curry looked significantly better that year, placing second again. Hardy Chupin finished third, while two upcoming bodybuilders, Hunter Labrada and Nick Walker, placed 4th and 5th respectively. By now, Ramy was considered a dominant champion. Leading into 2022 Mr. Olympia, he was favored to win again and become a three-time champion. However, he showed up in his worst shape, placing 5th as a defending champion, where Hardy Chupin became the new Mr. Olympia champion, with Derek Lunsford, who had won the 212 Mr. Olympia the previous year, placing second in his open bodybuilding debut. Nick Walker placed third, while Brandon Curry finished in 4th place. Ramy's physique was nowhere near his previous two Mr. Olympia showings. He struggled with his posing and looked uncomfortable on stage. After that, he last competed in the 2023 Arnold Classic, where he looked better than the Olympia, but still wasn't enough to win, placing 4th behind Samson Dauda, who became the champion, Nick Walker, who placed second, and Andrew Zacht, who placed third. Later, he addressed that he had been suffering from inflammation in certain body parts for a long time, which caused his physique to get worse, which prevented him from performing at his best. He was advised to take a break for recovery. Since then, Big Ramy has not been seen on stage. Many fans have been eagerly waiting his return, but as time passed, hope has faded. Currently 40 years old, Ramy has neither announced his retirement nor his comeback, with the IFBB Pro League's new rule stating that a pro bodybuilder who remains inactive for 3 years will lose his pro status and must re-earn a pro card to return to competition. Big Ramy's chances of making a comeback are diminishing further. If he remains inactive this year, he will lose his pro status and have to start all over again to return to the Olympia stage.